Okay, right. So, should we move to the next question from
Yeah, please.
Pranav Nanavare? He is asking, hello sir, which is better, PhD after BSc, oh, integrated PhD after BSc or the traditional MSc plus PhD? Which one is better?
Is it, but is it okay? So this will depend a bit on what kind of career you want to choose. Are you more focusing on the aspect of going into academia,
Right.
or you want to focus a lot on going into industry? If you want to go into industry, it makes sense to go for an integrated PhD because it will reduce the amount of time you will spend in academia. Whereas if you want to go into academia in hardcore research, so really being in academia, doing academics, publishing paper, a traditional PhD is better because you then really are dipped into the normal form of studying or normal form of research. And I will highly recommend that if you want to go into academia, actually it's better to do a PhD abroad, because at some point you will face this question of, have you done any research abroad? In India, a lot of students after finishing their PhD in India go abroad. But my suggestion is it's easier if you go for a PhD abroad, one postdoc, and then come back to India, then finishing your PhD and going for one postdoc abroad.
Okay. Shubhankar Banerjee is asking, can you tell me some names of institutes or centers? Shubhankar,
Yes, Shubhankar, let me just give you one name at least. But we will discuss about this in detail later. And if you need any more information, you can also let me know, or let Devulina ma'am know, and we will get back to you.
yes, I'd like to tell one thing, that if all of you people haven't already joined our Telegram channel, then I'd like to suggest that please join it, because you will get regular updates about our programs, especially because in the next few months we are going to arrange for a detailed discussion about scopes in physics. Okay. And the next point is, please note down my contact number. You can contact me through WhatsApp and Telegram. Especially, I would like to ask Minmoy to contact me, because I know some person from DRDO, so that maybe I can be of some help to you if you need it on an urgent basis. Okay, so please note down my contact number and join our Telegram channel. Okay, so Deepjyoti.
Yes, I have already posted a link of a institute that our friend Shubhankar can have a look at. It's an institute in Germany, but there are also institute in Netherlands, in Finland, in Ireland, and so on. The next question is from Shampa Dash, I guess.
Shampa Dash, sir, I am a student. I have completed BSc and MSc in physics. Okay, she has completed her MSc. So, can I go through MTech? What are the career opportunities if I go through MTech? Which subjects are preferable in India?
If you take this, the first question is, why would you like to do an MTech? Because you have already studied for 5 years. By doing MTech for 2 or even 3 years, what benefit do you get? You have to ask this question. And if you want to go into industry, which generally MTech is preferred for, there is not much of benefit just because you have MTech over MSc that you will get in long run. So the first thing you have to ask yourself is there any benefit? What you want to do, you want to go into, if you want to go into academia, then doing an MTech would make sense, but then doing a PhD would make even more sense, because by doing a PhD you become a doctor who can teach in a broader amount of institute or broader area of expertise that you can cover. Now, if you want to go into industry, then just doing an MTech doesn't make sense until and unless you specialize in a very specific topic. For example, radiology, or for example, maybe in the area of nanoelectronics, because you want to go into the area of semiconductors and chip manufacturing. Other than this, just doing an MTech because you are sitting idle may not make much sense. The better way is you spend some time, prepare for competitive exam, or for apply for opening which are already in few companies like Deloitte or TCS or Infosys and so on, because these companies do take people who are having background of BSc and MSc in physics. In fact, in consulting, there are a lot of people who come from physics background.
Okay. Next question, Hemant Kumar. Sir, my question is, in physics, how we choose our PhD work, whether it is okay? So the traditional question, what is theoretical physics, what is experimental physics, and how do I choose which way should I go? So how can I decide what is good for me?
This heavily depends on lot of aspects, like who is your mentor or who is your supervisor, what kind of institute you are working in, what topic you are in, and so on. Why I'm saying this? Because if your supervisor, the first thing is your supervisor. If your doctoral supervisor or your mentor is not in experimental work, it's very tough to choose something which is in experimental work, because it's very tough for them also to guide you. The second aspect is, if you work in an institute where there are no experimental facilities, that's also very tough to choose an experimental work, because you need infrastructure to do experiments. It's not that for theoretical work you don't need infrastructure, but these are very basic. So having just a laptop or a computer is good enough to go into theoretical topics. The last but not least is related to the fact that which field you are working. If you are in the field of semiconductor physics or solid state physics, experiments are less expensive. Whereas if you go into particle physics, experiments are way more expensive. If you go into astronomy, it's even more complicated, because in context of astronomy, you have to deal with a huge amount of data. You have to also design an experiment which may not be one person's job. So you need several people who come up with hypotheses and define the experiment. So first thing is, you have to understand what's the goal of your supervisor, how he is seeing the challenge, and why he is doing something what he is doing. The second thing is which field you are doing your research in, and question yourself what would be an interesting topic to work on. There is no big who is better question in context of theoretical or experimental physics. At the end, they complement each other. But the important part is, you have to understand, if you are doing experimental work, how theoretically that can be backed. If you are doing theoretical work, how experimentally that can be backed. That is more important than what kind of work you are doing.
Okay, right. So let us go to the next question. Shiv Shankar Chandra. I am a student of BSc Honours in Physics. I have interest in quantum mechanics and astrophysics and experimental physics like robotics. So, which field is best for me?
Okay, there are a lot of fields where you can, or at least I can imagine that you can work. One of them is definitely in the area of particle physics. So you may say, what's the connection between astrophysics and particle physics? A lot of overlap. So there is no question that that can be a very interesting area. Now, how robotics come, or what's the role of robotics in particle physics or astrophysics? If you think about Large Hadron Collider, where Higgs boson was discovered, there are a lot of robotics related. So calibrating a sensor, making a sensor accurate, creating a sensor, also making things in a way where human intervention is not needed. So a large scale facility is extremely huge, and you cannot just go to each place and put a nut and bolt together. So you need skill to program something which is a small robot, not a robot that you or me think is a robot, but it's a sensor with a lot of other functionalities which can already fix itself. So somehow the robotics part is related to the aspect of programming and understanding a problem which you can solve remotely. That is also an area you can, or I can imagine that you can get a lot of interest in. But as you are just doing your BSc or you are about to finish your BSc, it's better to focus on MSc in a topic which is not too specialized. In MSc, if you specialize too much, or if you go into a very thin area, then it's tough to navigate yourself later. So, depending on your interest, I would have said that you should aim for a good institute to do your MSc rather than a very specific topic in which you can do your MSc. Nevertheless, if you feel that nanotechnology or optics or photonics is also interesting for you because you like quantum mechanics as well as astrophysics, there are a lot of programs in Europe which are master's degree tailored for MSc in photonics. That can be also an option.
Okay. Deepjyoti, I have one question in connection to this
Yeah.
particular question. Uh, Quite a few number of my students are really interested about the general theory of relativity, the black hole, and things like that. So, and they are themselves doing some advanced study in this topic all by themselves at their
Hmm.
home. So, what are the particular scope for them in this area of interest for them?
One very pragmatic or realistic view on this is that just being interested in something does not make me an expert in that area.
Right.
So let's say I love to watch movies and I'm very much interested in movies, but if I have to make movies, if I have to build a career in making movies, that's a very different topic. So by saying this, I'm not at all discouraging you guys, but I would also say that you have to be very realistic when you want to think about your career. Definitely, doing research can in this area of astrophysics and astronomy is a big field. Nevertheless, one have to realize that at least till master's degree, there is no such specialization to go into astronomy because you need to have a very big base of knowledge in quantum mechanics, in relativity, in cosmology, and so on and so forth, to make sure that you understand what people are even saying. Once you do that, then it's a good time in your PhD to apply for a program where you know this is something I really love and this is something I want to pursue for my career. How can you test that you love it or not? You can take that topic as a master thesis topic or as a specialization topic at the end of your master's. Um, if it's tough, you can also think about having something like plasma physics as a, because plasma physics is also connected to cosmology as well as the whole concept of astrophysics. So you can also think about this, that if within my limitation I can do a project paper review and in an area where I am interested in, that in your masters will definitely clarify, do you have the aptitude to do research in that field? Because once you start research in that field, it will not be less than 5 to 7 years, after which you will get a position. By position I mean PhD will take 4 years, at least two postdoc, which will take 3 to 4 years. So roughly 7 to 8 years, you have to do hardcore research.
Right, right. Okay. uh, Next question is from Deep Patel. What is GATE exam benefit for BSc students? This is a very popular question. They practically
I would say maybe you can answer this question because from I know about GATE, and I can also tell you that there is no special significance in context of GATE in abroad. Some universities ask for your GATE score, but in India, what's the benefit? Maybe Devolina is a better person to answer this question.
Yes, it is my favorite question actually. So, for BSc students, okay, to appear for GATE exam, you need to complete your MSc. But GATE has many advantages. It can offer you many pathways. First of all, GATE score helps you to take admission to MTech course. Okay, and if you complete your MTech in the reputed institutes, more than reputation, the important part is if you are looking for job in an emergency basis, then the campusing and placement part is important. And I know that there are some IITs where campusing and placement part is really good. And I have some friends also who have completed their MTech in IITs, and after that they were placed directly through campusing. So GATE exam can be beneficial for MSc students. Also, those who, I mean, depending on your rank, you can apply in Bhabha Atomic Research Center, which is basically a job. You get a salary, and beside getting your salary, you can carry out your research work if you are interested. But of course, uh, it takes a lot of hard work, because in one part you are doing some job, and beside that you are doing your research work, so that takes a lot of hard work. But even then, I know some friends who have done both, so they have completed their research as well. So Bhabha Atomic Research Center is one thing which students are not much aware about, but this is a very, very good opportunity where you can apply if you clear GATE with a good rank. So the one part is MTech, and the other part is you can apply for Bhabha Atomic Research Center. So GATE score is vital. It can be beneficial for you. And one more thing I'd like to add, that after MSc you can appear in GATE, JEST and NET exam. And so far I have studied the question pattern. Clearing GATE is much easier than clearing NET and JEST. This is my personal experience and my understanding. So I think people should seriously prepare for GATE. They should take this exam seriously, because keeping in mind the BARC part. Okay, then what is this link, Deepjyoti? Oh, the institute.
Yes, it's
Okay,
the name of the institute.
institute. Okay, okay. Okay, so the next question is from Shahjahan Ali. Sir, what are the career option in medical field after BSc Physics honors?
In case of medical field, just after BSc, it's a bit difficult, but it's not impossible to have a career option in medical field. One easy access is that right now there are a lot of institutes in which medical institutes in which chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and proton therapy is offered. In these institutes, generally those who work with these instruments on and the infrastructure are mostly people from physics. Now, if you only have a BSc degree, it's tough to get into a position which is higher. So you may have to even start as a base level employee, but this is something you can directly start. Nevertheless, you can also go and study medical physics or medical instrumentation after coming from physics BSc, and that can enable you to go into a vast area of expertise, like uh, starting from instrumentation, where you need to understand both physics, signal processing, and then going into the sensor part of what you want to measure, to definitely this area of cancer research or cancer therapy is something that someone can build their career on. And unfortunately, due to expansion of human life, chances are that a lot of people will be affected in cancer, and this is an area which will not stop in next 50, 60 years until and unless there is a revolution happening in medical science. So that is in short. If you just want to get in after BSc in the medical field, the bar is too low to start, so you might be a base level employee. But if you do something as a master's or MTech in the area of instrumentation or MSc in medical physics and so on, you can access an institute at a very high position.
Right. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is during MTech you get fellowship. Okay, so that is another important part for GATE exam. Okay, so next question is from Pankaj. Hello, sir and ma'am. Good evening. I am doing graduation in computer science honors, and after that I want to get a good job. So what opportunities are there, and what do I do for this? I'd like to add one point. I have studied the graduation syllabus in computer science, and I found that the syllabus contains C++, Java, and Python. It is in their curriculum.
Okay. Pankaj, while answering this question, I will also take in account of physics, which is because there are fields in physics where it's called computational physics. Mostly people who do density function theory calculations, band structures, and so on and so forth. There is a lot of research opportunity in computational physics. So if someone is doing physics, interested in programming, they can also think about computational physics. Now, only focusing on the topic of computation or studying computer science, you can have two options. One is you evaluate yourself asking the question, is it something that I only studied or I have some skill set? Can I program something at a very basic level of using Python, doing a complete Monte Carlo simulation by just using programming? Can I do that? If not, that already means that your skill level is mid to low. If that's the case, you should really focus on improving your skill, because if you are studying computer science and you are not good in programming, that's not a very good thing to sell, or that's not a very good thing to build your complete CV on. Nevertheless, even IT sector companies do not always expect that you will know everything about programming. So if you understand the basics very well, you can build on it. If you say, I'm not interested in jobs, I'm interested in studying, I want to study even further, the best way to do something after studying computer science is going into the area of data science. Rather than doing a MSc in computer science, if you think about studying, it's better to do either a master's or MTech in data science or data engineering, because that will give you a lot of more options to do than only having a MTech in computer science. If you say, I don't want any of this option, what I want is immediately a good job, you can take few courses for programming and train yourself to become a better programmer while applying for companies, the IT companies in India which are still hiring, like TCS, CTS, Wipro, Infosys, and so on. And if you believe that you are a good programmer already, you can also apply for startups. Startups within this COVID time have been one of the biggest employers in India. They always need people who can do programming. They always need people who are developers and so on. So there are plenty of opportunities if you have good programming skills. If you don't, you don't need to panic, because you have time to build that